Coming up next, we have Bishop Joseph Rosello, who is a good friend of mine from the Anglican Church, and he's working around the country, well, around the world, planting churches. I thought it'd be a great story to talk about because we live in a time where people assume that the church is dying. Of course, the church can never die. The gates of hell will never prevail against Christ's church. But we see in the public square, the institutions no longer seem like they used to. The Church of England is a good example. Seems apostate, pushing things like gay marriage and trans archdeacons left, right, and centre. We have the Pope sowing confusion every other day. So it's good to see people on the ground doing the good work of discipling the nation. Now, the Right Reverend Joseph Rosello is with me now. Your Grace, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Father Carvin.
Not at all. Can you tell us a bit about NAMS?
Yes, NAMS, where we are a missionary order that started 30 years ago. And originally, the name was NAMS, meant North American Missionary Society.
Right.
But around 15 years ago, we became global. And obviously, to be called North American Missionary Society is not what it works. Therefore, the name means today is New Anglican Missionary Society.
Okay. And so, but it's not just for Anglicans, is it? This is a society that is broadly Christian.
Not, yes. And we are within the Anglican tradition,
right.
But it's any believer who feels a call to be in a missionary order that focus in discipleship and church planting is welcome to contact us. And we are also doing partnership with different dioceses and jurisdictions.
Right. So, of course, the Anglican Church sent missionaries all around the world. You and I have been to Africa. We were in Rwanda.
Correct.
We've seen the fruits of this work. It's a very good thing that used to happen a lot. And so you're trying to rebuild this whole tradition.
Yes. And we believe that the future is found in discipleship. Not because we have make it up, it's because Jesus Christ, before he went, he left what we call the last command. Yeah. Everyone talks about the Great Commission. We like to think of the last command. And it's interesting that in Greek, it says disciple the nations. Yeah. Therefore, how we disciple the nation is we make disciples who they gather together in churches, and through their witness and testimony, we transform society. I was listening your previous guest and what has happened. In a society where the vast majority of society, or members of that society, is Christians and have been discipled, that will never happen.
I mean, that's a very good point. We live in a country now where someone has been arrested, charged, and found guilty of silently praying in his own head. Now, in a properly Christian country, that could not happen. That would be impossible. But it seems the state has turned against the faith. And so to get things back in line, we need to disciple the nations. But what does that look like in practice? What do you do?
Well, let me give you an example. One of the last people who came to the Lord and in my ministry in Exmouth, before I stepped down from being the minister in a church there. When he began to come, he used to come and drink alcohol in the middle of the service.
Right. We all do that. It's called the wine.
Well, he was a little bit stronger than that.
Okay.
And the reason is when we began to talk to him, when he began to open up to me after a few months, he said that he didn't have the courage to come. Right. He was in tattoos, he has been in drugs, alcohol, say it and aim it. Then the Lord did change his life. He got an encounter and then another encounter, right, who began to change. He began to drop alcohol and began to drop drugs, and to the point that he has left all that life behind. Okay. Then we began to work with him and teaching him the scriptures and praying with him and encourage him to walk alongside. For example, I allow him to come and do things in the church. Half of the things he was doing in the church was not helping us. It was right, giving us more work. Right. Like he was painting and then we had to paint behind. Yeah. But it was necessary for that process. Yes. Then as he began to know about the scriptures, at one moment in time he came and said, I have to get out of the benefits. I need to get my own job. Yeah. Now, he could stay because of the illness he had previously and accidents. He could stay in benefits. But he realized he needed to create his own business. Now he has started a new business. He has people working for him. And not only that, he's now evangelizing and discipling. But also, it changed his way of seeing. He is now one of the most outspoken pro-life members in the church. And also the way he dressed, the way he speak, the way he related. Therefore, he has become a force of teaching others about pro-life, about society, about entrepreneur.
I love that. There's something about the enemy wants us to be reliant on the state and to live off benefits and to own nothing and be happy, right? Happy. Because we can't, truly. We are made to serve. We are servants, and therefore we have to contribute to society, contribute to our family, contribute to our parish. We have to be a part of a wider body of people. We call it the church, but generally speaking, we're human people. We like to interact. We are made that way. And because God is a relationship himself between the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and he invites us into that relationship of love. And so that's the Christian message, right? To find him through love. And so on a ground level, where are you doing this? Where are you doing your missionary work?
Where we are all around the world. For example, if I start in Europe right now, we are starting working in England, in Spain, and in the future we are working already, but the person is not in the ground, in Italy, Croatia, Slovenia, and Albania. We are very unique because we create bases. And for you to understand, and you will smile, it's like the old convents or the old monasteries, but we call it bases. Okay. The idea is in a geographic area, we bring companions and sisters, and they create a community. From that community, we start working with dioceses and churches to plant churches through discipleship. Therefore, right now, very exciting is we have new work starting with one of the most unreached tribes in North Africa.
Oh, amazing.
All Muslims, and we have few families in different camps, and we start doing church planting. Right now, in the last 2 months, in a way unexpected, many people from Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, Iran, and north of India, all of them Muslims, they are Christians coming to us saying, can you teach us? Wow. Therefore, we expect next year to have a training program for over 200 leaders to help them about discipleship in their context and church planting. Those are some of the examples. In Albania, the idea is to help a church who is not Anglican, is an evangelical church, who have too small congregation to grow. They almost closed one, but we encourage them, and they have kept that church. Now we are sending someone from Egypt to help them because Albania is a majority Muslim country. We want to strengthen those two churches, plant a third church, and begin to train people to send into the Balkans nations. Okay. That's some examples. I could carry on, as you can see.
It's great. So you're planting churches, you're training leaders, you're supporting established churches so that they can grow. I think it's wonderful. And I especially like to hear about Mohammedans converting to Christ and finding Christ and stepping away from the enemy. But we need that here as well. We need that at home.
Yes.
England, I would say England has lost Christ.
We have, and in more ways than we expected. Because one of the things happened to England, like in Spain, where there were nations majority of Christians, is once you lose, it takes a long time people to realize. Because socially, the language and the culture seems Christian.
Right.
But that is reflecting in different ways, in the ways of who the political parties decisions or proposals, how it makes economics, how we respond to different situations. Therefore, here in England, we have found that the way we do church planting has to be outside the box. Okay. The idea of church planting, sending a team or paying a minister who is full-time, we find a big difficulties is it requires a lot of finances. In a situation where the church is getting weaker and weaker, I'm talking about the faithful church. Yeah. The faithful church is very weak right now. Therefore, to maintain a minister and a family and to plant a church, it takes long requests. But if we can find teams where are self-sustained and plant organically, it will take longer time, but the results will be great. We are, I'm talking with different people, starting thinking of doing church planting in villages. Right now, they are meeting in a house. There are very few people, and how that works in that context. And we are working with that. I am preparing a companion, and there's a couple of people interested in the UK to become companions. I'm going to encourage other people to plant in London. London is a key city. If we want to make an impact, we need to, and I believe you don't have to be a majority, 51%. The moment Christians are faithful and are willing to sacrifice everything, once you have 10 or 20%, the impact of Christians is such, you will change society. And because Christ say that, you know, there doesn't need a massive amount of people. It's faithful people who obey the commands of Christ.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be good to see. It will be really good to see England become Christian again. We've reached a point where it's no longer seen as intolerant, it's seen as persecuted. And that's when things shift, because the faith thrives under persecution. And so it's good to see your missionary work is going to be taking place out here as well. What can people do if they want to support it, if they want to get involved? Where can they go?
Well, I would say go to our website, NSNAMSnetwork.com.
Right.
Look around. There's different ways that they can get involved, from praying for us to maybe considering if this is a call from them. Maybe it's people who are thinking, well, I would like to plant a church. I don't know how to do it. Contact with us. We would love to partner with you. We would like to help you. We would like to walk with you and mentor you. And if you want to give, it would be wonderful as well.
It's just new ways of doing it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
People have been planting churches since the church began. However, in this country, we've kind of got used to being established, and having an established church means, you know, you have this ancient building and kind of you have certain expectations, like the stipend or the salary that you mentioned. But there are other ways to plant, and across the world, people are, you know, house church is a good way to start, and all different models. So it's nice to see people thinking outside of the box, even here. And so I'm praying that your NAMS mission is a success. I'm praying that not only abroad but here at home too. And I hope that people who watch this feel inspired to go and check out what's the website, NAMSnetwork.com. Again, it will be in the show notes. Click the link and have a look. And if you feel inspired, get involved. Bishop Joseph Rosello, thank you very much for what you're doing. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you for having me.
Not at all. It's good to have some good news for a change, isn't it? And so today we've had the story of a Christian who's been persecuted in a Christian land, and then we've had some news of Christian churches being planted across the country. Fantastic. Thank you for watching my Common Sense Crusade. If you'd like to watch the whole show, you can subscribe to lotuseaters.com for as little as £5 per month, and then you get access to a bank of content as well. My show is 3 p.m. every Thursday. See you there. Deus Vult.